It's live.
Are we live? Okay. All right, this is,
It's talking to you, Liz.
good afternoon. This is the COA Board meeting of November 14th, starting at 3 PM. And Liz is playing games over there with her computer.
Sounds better.
We don't have a ton to go over today, but we'll start with calling the meeting to order, and then we're going to talk about, excuse me, the fact that this is an open meeting, and we do have to follow the open meeting laws. This is my first time running this meeting, so give me a little bit
Sure.
of leeway if I forget what I'm doing.
We'll keep you on your toes.
You will.
We'll try to.
Okay. So, first of all, are there any announcements?
Yes. Just want to remind everybody about the little pantry at Baptist Church. It has been well.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you all muted? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Are we muted, Lorelai?
I can hear you now, thank you.
This goes down to
This
Jean.
goes to Jean.
Yeah.
I think
I like Lorelai's hairstyle.
Technical difficulties.
I think I might need Amber's help to stop the echo.
Do you want me to continue?
You want to try it again? Try to do your announcement and see what happens.
Okay, I just wanted to remind folks about the little pantry at the Baptist Church. It's been well stocked and we have extra food inside the church. And just come, and if you're in need, come and, look around and see what there is that you could use at your house. And I also understand, I heard that at the Ecumenical Thanksgiving service is coming Sunday at St. Anne's. Any food that is coming in, food that is coming in is going to be donated to Littleton the little food pantry at the church, so that would be nice.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's nice.
That's very, very
And Any
nice.
monetary gifts will go to Loaves and Fishes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That pantry has really taken off.
It sure has. It's
I mean-
kind of hard to keep it filled sometimes.
It's maybe a big pantry now instead
Yeah.
of the little pantry.
You have to make a little bigger box.
Yeah.
Or a little deeper box, one or
Right.
the other, right. Any other?
If I could too, speaking
Sure.
of pantries too, I'm on the Loaves and Fishes Board of Directors, and anyone that's looking for any kind of need or help during this season, they only need to call up there, they don't ask any financial questions at all, and 3 times a week can go up and pick up food, so
Good.
that's available also.
They can go 3 times a week?
Well,
No,
it's open
three
3 times a week, yeah.
So they can choose the time that they go.
What
Yeah.
days are they open?
I'll have to check, because it has changed, it was Tuesday and Thursday, but they added a day on to that now.
And do they still, do the food come out to the car, or are they allowed to go in now?
The food comes out to the car.
It still comes out to the car. Okay. All right, so that's good. Don't happen to have the phone number with you, do you?
No, I don't have the card with me. I had it in my hand and I forgot to bring it down, so.
Well, I think if you call Liz, she's got the number. So call the COA office and you can get the number.
Yep.
And we deliver food bags too, right? Twice a
Yep,
month?
every other week we do food deliveries here in town. We load up the van and Alicia Rago, the outreach worker, goes with one of our van drivers and delivers upwards of 90 bags.
Okay, very good.
That's a huge number.
That's a lot of bags, when you think about that, every 2 weeks. Is there anybody else who has an announcement of any sort? Okay, we're now on to the minutes. And did everybody get to read the minutes, and is there anything that you want to change, or are we okay?
I was okay.
I think, David, you had a comment you wanted to make about the minutes.
No. No,
No,
no, I'm all set.
you don't think they're too long?
Anita, say it.
Well, I've been told by a couple of
don't- I-
people that we might be able to
Wait, I don't,
condense or shorten them
yeah, I don't.
so
I
that
don't
they're
know-
not quite so long.
Yeah, you said it. Set.
So how does everybody feel about that? So Lorelei has a direction to follow? You like them the way they are, or do you want to change them in it? Reduce them, or how do you want to do it?
I did notice that this month they seem more detailed, but
But detail,
They're kind of like a transcript because I'm listening to the video and mostly typing what everyone says, but I'm open to feedback.
I know that when I took minutes for the Personnel Board, it's a challenge, because you don't really know, but if a topic came up and we spent 10 minutes discussing it, each board had input about their discussion. I would not put their discussion, I'd say after 10 minutes of discussion, the board voted this way. And if there was a major point, then I would put that in, but I would not do a complete transcript
Yeah.
of the meeting. I would say,
That's
this
it.
topic, after discussion by the board, this was the vote.
Yeah.
Because I think the big thing is how we vote on the topic. That's what should be recorded. I don't know if much of the discussion needs to be put in about it.
I think it really rests on the individual board
Okay.
and the chairman of the board, how they feel, and Marge unfortunately is not here today, but I agree when we did the personnel, but in some respects, personnel was different than this because there was a lot of things on the personnel board that you really didn't want detailed information about the situation, but you did want
The vote.
the discussion and the final, there was a discussion and this is the vote. It's different than when you're doing something like this,
Okay.
that you might want more detail. So how does everybody feel about that?
Well, I just think that the secretary it's hard to do minutes. I used to do
It's
minutes.
very
too.
hard to
It
do
is,
minutes.
it is.
And.
And Lorelei does a fantastic
Yeah.
job.
Wonderful.
Yes, but there's so much into it that it's a shame that she has to do all of that. When she might miss, because she's writing so much stuff down, she might miss something too. I know I used to do that. Be trying to write some stuff down and miss part of the conversation, so, she doesn't have to do this for us, she just has to do whatever she feels necessary, and like Jean said, just synopsize it, I guess,
Summarizing the whole topic, then
yeah.
they're getting the feel of the whole board. And if a board member has an objection to it, that wants to say, could you include this because I said that, then that can be done.
That's good.
I've certainly been on boards where someone says,
Yeah, they do say we want this.
I wasn't quoted, would you?
Yeah, that has been done by different boards.
It's a really hard job, so if there's any way that it can be simplified,
I think it's a hard job. I mean, I've done it for years and years on different boards, and I thank Lorelei for doing it because,
Yeah.
boy, I don't want to do it anymore. It's just way too much work. And she does a fantastic job. And not to take anything away from you, Lorelei, you're doing a great job. But I think we're trying to make your job a little easier, so what is the feeling of the rest of the board?
Not that this is any big deal, it's very small, but do we need every time we take a vote, do we have to have our name there?
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't just say.
that's the one thing we
was
do
No,
know.
that's a-
unanimously, or-
No, you have to put the name of
Okay.
how the person
I know.
voted, yeah.
But if it's unanimous, you don't have to do that.
No, not if it's
Not if we-
Not
unanimous.
if it's unanimous, yes.
Not if it's here.
But still, it's difficult because we are Zooming, And when you're Zooming, you have to put the name in the vote. So
That's true.
while we're hybrid or Zooming, you have to really put them all in. If everybody was here, you could do a unanimous vote and be done. But I think the law says when you're Zooming or I just
Hybrid.
said that word,
Hybrid.
that you have to list everybody and what they said.
Okay.
So unfortunately, that has to
I
stay,
know, that's too bad.
but,
Okay. Well,
no, go ahead.
I was going to make a motion to accept the minutes of, I was ending the discussion I make a motion to accept the minutes of October 17th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, no, we have to go.
Oh,
David,
Yes.
Sue,
yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
Joe,
Abstain.
and Jean,
Yes.
and Marilyn,
Yes.
and Lorelei,
Yeah.
and Anita. Okay, so now, as far as the minutes go, why don't we try this month, Lorelei, to condense a little bit and not put every single thing in? And let's just see how the minutes come out.
Right.
Let's try it as a sample.
I will do that.
Okay,
And then we can blame Anita if it comes out wrong, because you were the chairperson.
That sounds very fair.
Doesn't that sound fair?
okay, guys. Don't beat up on Anita or I'll make you chairman right now. I can do that.
I know.
Okay, let's go now to the Friends report. I see that Holly's here, and she probably has a good report to give us, so you're up, Holly.
Thank you. It's nice to see you all. I can't believe how fast a month goes. Here we are in the back. Just to give you an idea of what the Friends have been doing these last several weeks. First, we wanted to thank Loving Stitches for their hand-knit items that we sold at the last home football game. So that was nice. We're getting our presents out there. We had our banner, and the Friends, it was freezing that night, actually. So that was really great. We appreciate that support. This month, we are supporting the Night Lights at Tower Hill Botanical Garden, and I heard it's a beautiful trip. So I'm hoping there'll be a good turnout for that. And the December brunch at El Forno's, we're happy to support. We've been working very hard on the Holiday Bazaar. We plan to have a couple of tables at that event. One is going to be really kind of like a white elephant thrift table. Sandra's been working really hard to clear out that closet upstairs, and she's found some real gems. So we thought, instead of housing it at her house, her husband will be very thankful to have some of that stuff gone. We're going to set up a table for thrift donations or things that we've had over the past. And it was her decision to give 100% to the TRED fund. From
To the
that
Tread
table.
Fund?
So we're really thrilled with that. On another table, we're going to have at least 3 or 4 raffle baskets, and we'll be side by side, but the thrift will be devoted to TRED, and we'll use ours to, our account. So we'll see you on the 3rd. The last several weeks, the board's been discussing and investigating the idea of doing a major capital campaign to offset the library. And in this conversation, we realized how much is involved in taking on that kind of a challenge. So we're really in the investigating stage. We've met with the Tiger Tech people twice to get our presence online up to speed. We now have a way to make donations right online, which we didn't have the capability. There are 7 of us on the board, and we're all advanced in age and not very tech literate, but the kids have been great. So we thank Ariane, Nikhil, and their advisor, Julie Lord, for meeting with us to help us design. We also met with the Friends of the Library.
Sarah and Katrina, who's a trustee, and they were wonderful. They gave us a huge packet of all the handouts they'd given, the booklets they'd made to give to major donors, who to contact. And so that's what we're doing. We're starting to reach out to all these people. So with that, we called Jen Richardson. I think you all may know that name. She's from Blue Bumble.
Oh,
And she's a marketing firm. And she's agreed to meet with us to give us more ideas on what we would need, how much money this is going to cost to, you have to spend money to make money. So, never done this before. So a public service announcement, if there are anyone out there that, could help our board, there are only 7 of us, and I know we're going to need help to pull off, a big campaign like this. So that's what we're doing. We also, I joined a blog with Laura Jacobwith from Bloomerang, and they're a marketing firm as well, and they sell software. So in the event that we want to go in that direction, but right now we're just kind of realizing that this is probably the next major step for the Friends. Something very different than what they've done in the past.
Yeah, it is. Sounds exciting.
It is exciting, but we know we need the energy to pull it off. We need way more people.
Yeah,
We
you need a
support
lot
from
of
your
help.
board, as well as the townspeople and administrators. I mean, this has got to be kind of an all-hands-on-deck adventure, like the library did. So we're going to give it a shot. And if anyone has any advice or anything they want to share, we'd really appreciate it as we look ahead to see what we need in order to be able to do this and do it well.
I think Katrina will be a really big help. I mean,
Oh,
she
she's
did
great.
so much for the library, and she knows the ins and outs and ups and downs. And also, Mark Rombacher's wife,
Yes.
she was very involved in the fundraising over there, and I'm sure she could give you advice.
She has. She
Yeah,
gave
she's-
us the pamphlets, and she came to my house, both of them,
Mm-hmm.
and met with me and Susan, and we sat down and had a great conversation, lots of questions, where do you start, what do you do? So it's been great. So now we have to do it ourselves and take what they've done. I have a whole pamphlet of, templates and things they've done, which if we just tweak it and maybe use a different name, use the Friends of the COA as opposed to the library. it should-
starting out, Holly, have you heard of other capital gain fundraisers that have taken place to build a senior center in other towns?
No. That's a
Because
great idea.
I know that the capital gain, the libraries do this all the time when they build their libraries. But I was just wondering if anybody's a community that built a new senior center, if they went through these steps to
Yeah,
reach out
I'm
and
sure
find
there are
out.
grants and things that we also are going to explore. And we did reach out again to Senator or Representative Arciero. And we figured we'd wait till he was reelected. He's probably up to his eyeballs in reelection campaign, so, because they had expressed an interest in helping us secure some funds.
Right.
To kind of jumpstart this, because I think a lot of what I understand the library did was they had a lot already done before they kicked it off. So
Oh, yeah.
it already had momentum going forward, and I think that makes a lot of sense for us to kind of get our ducks in a row first before we launch something. So right now, we're just really trying to focus on what's available, how to do it, and so forth. So that's where the Friends are these days.
Well, it's an exciting time, and I hope you get a lot of help.
Thank you.
Because you will need it.
Yeah. I think it's worth it. We've waited a long time for this, so it's our turn. And
That's right.
I know a lot of the people that are now in my age category spent years and years helping all the rest of these buildings in town grow. And so I think it's our turn. I'm excited. That's all I have to report.
Well, thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. I'm off to the library to do the Children's Garden Club. So, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and now the director's report.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so before I get into anything else, I wanted to talk about the MCOA conference that
Oh,
we
yes.
went to last month. That was absolutely fantastic. So it was October 19th, 20th, and 21st. And it was 2.5 days full of workshops. And a majority of the workshops I attended were on building a new building. Yes, learning from other senior center directors who've been through the process recently, what works, what doesn't work, do this, not this. And then one full day was an architect who mainly does senior centers nationally. And he did just about a full day presentation on what he does, what he found has worked. So I took a ton of notes. At the end of that presentation, he handed out a full color booklet that I gave to I took two. I gave it to Suzanne, who is one of the architects from LLB, who's working on the design of our building, so she can look through, and it goes down to details like faucets and door handles. It goes from large scale all the way down to small scale, so I wanted her to have a copy of that too, as we're going into the furnishings, fixtures, and equipment inside the building. So definitely learned a lot from that. A lot of the other workshops that I attended were either on dementia-friendly communities or on kind of taking care of yourself so you're able to take care of others, how to kind of rebuild your own momentum, rebuild the momentum in your community, re-engage seniors, get yourself back to where you were post-pandemic. And a lot of the conversation was, I don't know if it will ever be the same as it was before. We kind of have to reinvent, recreate, and do something totally different, but reinvigorate yourself to be able to get back there. Going back to dementia friendly, so Littleton is AARP age friendly designated, but we're not quite dementia friendly designated. We're in the process. It's relatively easy. We're almost there. But one of the interesting things that I learned is that the most engaged communities in dementia-friendly communities nationwide had higher paid staff, higher paid directors, and more square footage. And that was just a correlation that they put forth. But to do the other side of the coin for that, they said even if you don't have monetary capital, you need to build your human capital. So going back to reinvigorating your staff, getting everyone excited, engaged, really buy into the process, buy into becoming a dementia-friendly community. And if you do that, it trickles down to your staff, it trickles down to everyone else. So in order to do that, one of the things we're doing is there is something called a Dementia Friend. It's a national thing, and it's even international. I think it actually started in Japan. But if you become a Dementia Friend, you are someone who has attended an information session, and you learn 5 key talking points of how to have empathy and how to engage and have a conversation and include somebody who has dementia. So I've taken this training, this information session, so I'm technically a Dementia Friend. Sue Raymond has done it. So the next step is that we've asked all of our van drivers to do this training, so they are all Dementia Friends, and Amy and Alicia will also become Dementia Friends, and then we'll keep broadening out, and we can do information sessions with all the town hall staff, public safety, library. We can make everyone Dementia Friends. And it's not a medical training. It's not, I'm a dementia expert and here's the clinical terms. It's really how to connect with somebody on a human level and have empathy for their situation and how to engage with them and be able to relate to somebody in that struggle. So I wanted to put it forth to the board to see if this is something that the board might be interested in doing, becoming Dementia Friends. It's a 1-hour training or information session on Zoom, and you can do it at your own time. There's a couple different trainings coming up, and could send out the link.
Well, I think Marge wanted me to bring it up as well. And in our rules and regs, we're required to take some sort of training once a year. And I think that this is one of the best ways we can do it. It's only an hour of our lives, and it covers the rules and regs, and,
Love to take
you know, we get to take the course and help wherever we can. So Marge has asked me to put forward to ask all of the members of the board if they would please be interested in doing that, and that covers our this year training. So Liz can send the link to everybody, and then you can pick the date that you want to do it. There's two
I think
sessions.
It's a 1 hour session, but there's 2 coming up, I believe. One in December and one in January.
Okay.
Is it Zoom?
It's Zoom. Yep, very easy, and
And you have to take it as a designated time if you sign up for that time.
yeah,
It's not archived or anything.
no,
Okay.
no.
So it's a designated time on that day.
Yeah, and it's interactive. It's not a webinar. You just log in and you watch. There's a Dementia Friends champion who gives the training.
Okay, so think about that, and she will send all of you the link so you have it. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Let's see, next on my list, I wanted to pull up the stats, if I can just get that really quick. And do a share screen, which I should be a pro at this now, but it's a little challenging. Okay, here we go. There it is, okay. So here we are today in October, and the top column is, or the top rows are FY23, and then below is FY22. But I highlighted the numbers in red, which are, for this fiscal year, are all-time high. So for October, we've hit our FY23 high of event sign-ins at 776, and our under 60 outreach at 125. Now, this isn't our all-time high, but this year, so far, this is our high. And actually, for the event sign-ins, this is the highest we've been since the pandemic hit. So, slowly, steadily getting back there. Nicole has been putting in a ton of work planning programs and trying to make it broad and varied in what we're offering to folks. And I think that really shows in the numbers that we are having more people attend our programs. Amy and Alicia in Outreach couldn't be here today because they are upstairs doing fuel assistance appointments, and we've seen off the charts numbers with that. So for this past month in October, under fuel assistance, they had 60 appointments that they took care of. Next highest is 32 insurance appointments, because it is open enrollment season. And a majority of what they're doing is phone consultations, email consultations, and in-office is next after that. And they did 12 home visits last month. So they are extremely busy, but we're getting back there. It's taking time, but slowly creeping up.
How is the rental assistance? Is that still going strong? I mean,
Yep.
a lot of people are saying that people are raising their rents.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
you know, have you been getting calls on that?
Yes, yep, so, rental assistance, it's not full, we haven't hit the 18 slot cap yet, but we do have a lot of participants, and some that have been on for all 3 years, that you're allowed to be in. And it's been full, but there's a low housing stock for rental apartments in Littleton. It's not that there's a ton of rental units that would qualify. So we do get a lot of inquiries, a lot of applications for CHAMP, which is the universal housing application that we help people with if they don't qualify. And if they do qualify, we still apply them for that as well. But yeah, the rental situation's not great out there. housing in general has been tough. Let's see, I will stop share on that. And stop share. And then I will move on to. Any questions so far before I move on? I have new building update, but do you want me to hold that off until further
Yeah.
on? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I guess that is it for me, and I will have, unless you want me to do Nicole's now.
What about the luncheon, the veterans luncheon?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we had the Veterans Luncheon last week on Thursday, and we had a really great turnout. I believe it was 70 people in total who had signed up for that. We had delicious food from Wegmans that they donated a portion of that to, and BJ's in Northborough donated a cake for that, and to-go containers, so we could send everyone home with big portion of food as
And
well.
everybody went home with food.
Everyone went home with 2 meals.
Yeah.
And Gary Wilson, the select board vice chair, gave a heartfelt speech. That was really fantastic. And John Borowski, our veterans agent, led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I thought it was a great, and thank you for everyone who volunteered. A lot of board members volunteered, and it was,
It was a really good day.
and thank you to Gail Dalton, who
Yes.
her Meals on Wheels were late, and then didn't show up, and then they had to be sent back, and then she had to get frozen meals sent. All the while we're standing there with our enough food for 140 people, waiting for the ovens, breathing down her neck. So she was very patient with us, and
And
she
the
really
thing
was a
is, she
star.
she wouldn't let the food go out until the temperature was right, because she said, nobody's getting sick on my watch.
Oh, yeah.
And so
She is very diligent with
she was very
food safety.
diligent, but a really big help. And thanks to Nicole for all the work she did putting that together. That was a big effort.
Yeah.
She did a great job.
That was fun.
Okay.
Let's see. And I can do Nicole's report now, the assistant director report, unless there was anything else I'm missing. I'm a little scatterbrained.
Liz, can I just ask you one question?
Sure.
The Dementia Friend,
Yes.
is there a cost to that?
No.
No, no cost, okay.
Nope. No cost, and you can sign right up. I'll send out the link after this meeting, but the website is neat. There's a little counter on their website of how many Dementia Friends are currently in the state of Massachusetts. I think it's like 12,000 or something, and it continually ticks up the more and more people that do it. But they just, in Norwell, I think it was, Norwell or Norwood? Norwell. Did a Dementia Friends training for the entire high school student population.
Oh,
I thought that was really great. Really
Very
great.
That's why I was taking this information down, because Neshoba Tech had talked about, they're training electricians and plumbers and everything, and they've got to go out into houses
Exactly.
where there might be dementia folk, and so this is one way that all the students could
they can learn.
take this class and learn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's I think I'm going to do the December 5th champion training, so I can train trainers to do it as well. So then we can just keep trickling it down, like Market Basket, Donnellan staff, people who interact all the time with hugely broad section of the population. Options are kind of endless here. All right, so then I have Nicole's report. And she wanted to let you all know of events that are coming up. So in December, she has holiday carolers, a collage making history course, a creativity seminar. We have brunch at El Forno's, sponsored by the Friends of Littleton Council on Aging. We have music history with John Clark, which is music of the 1950s and 1960s holiday music, and that's a multimedia presentation as well. We have Cheryl Fay, who is an actress who does Ruth Bader Ginsburg impersonations, and she's coming to give a presentation as Ruth. And then Deputy Chief Clancy is doing the history of firefighting. Not the one he did for us last year, but this is one that will highlight the tragedies and things that had happened in the past to create all the laws and rules and regulations around fire safety and building codes that we have today. And of course, it's always fun to see Tom Clancy's presentations. As far as future programs, monthly lunch and learn opportunities, restaurant hoppers is coming up, art museum trip, Herbert Candy's trip, figure skating show, ballet show, Super Bowl party, another session of RAD, the self-defense class, baseball opening day party, St. Patrick's Day luncheon with a corned beef dinner, in-house spaghetti supper, summer barbecue, hearing screenings will continue monthly, and we finally have a new podiatrist, because for a couple months here, we've been without one, as ours stopped doing COA visits, so beginning in January, we now have a new podiatrist coming in. So that is Nicole's assistant director report.
I would just like to add that for the RAD
Yes.
training, if you haven't had RAD training, you should take RAD training if you're a female. It's extremely important. I took it this last time. They told me it was going to be for seniors. It was not. It was, it was just as, I had taken it like 20 years ago, and I took the refresher, and Officer Abu is just fantastic in his training and his awareness of making you aware of what you should be afraid of or what you should be looking at when you're out and around and watch out for. And then the final self-defense part of it is extremely good to know, and everybody can do it. It doesn't matter how old you are. We had a 92-year-old lady that did it, and she passed with flying colors. Not that you pass or fail, but if you haven't done it, you really should. It really helps. I think every high school girl should take it. I mean, it's that important. So,
It's well attended.
yes,
Well-attended
very
class.
well attended.
Anita, you said Officer Abu, and that reminded me that at the Veterans Day luncheon, we had a really strong presence from public safety. We had about
We did.
5 or 6 officers from the police department and 5 or 6 from the fire department, and LELWD sent 2 people over, and I think having that kind of interdepartmental support really means a lot, and I think a lot of our residents really like to see kind of the town coming together for them like that. It was really,
And
really
had the
great to see.
opportunity, the veterans had an opportunity to talk to them, and I think they really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
They did. Okay.
What's next?
Is that the end of the report?
That's the end of Assistant Director, and as far as the outreach reports, Amy and Alicia just asked me to remind everyone that fuel assistance time is now, don't wait till it's too late. Apply now, they can walk you through the entire process, and even if you've been rejected in the past, they'll help you figure out what went wrong or what other options are out there for you. There is always something, there's never nowhere to turn in this type of situation for Littleton residents. And then it's still open enrollment season through mid-December. So if you have questions about health insurance, Medicare, give us a call. We'll fix you up, tell you your options. That's it.
Okay, can we have a motion to accept the directors and outreach coordinators?
I move that we accept the COA employees report. The staff report,
That takes care of
as
it.
read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Care of them all. Just-
David?
Yep.
Sue?
Yes.
Ann Lee?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Lorelei?
Yes.
And Anita is yes. Okay. On to the next topic. We'll talk about the senior center project.
Sure thing. Okay. Let's see. In the back of the room right now, I currently have our latest rendering. I think at the last meeting I did mention that they're playing around with the roof lines to see if there's some cost savings we can do there. But last week was a big week for us. So in the past 2 months, we went out for request for qualifications for construction manager at risk. We got 4 applications, whittled it down to 3. We had 2 come in for interviews, and that was on Monday last week, so a week from last Monday. We had the 2 construction firms come in and do full hour-long presentations on their companies, what they could provide for us, how they would approach the program. And the panel for that was the selection committee for reviewing the RFQs. So that was Brian Fors, who is our OPM from the Vertex Company, Anthony Insaldi, the town manager, Bartlett Harvey represented PMBC, Steve Moore was there in place of Bob Bromley, who was out sick that day, and myself. So we got to go around, ask questions. We scored each company individually, and then at the end we had an open discussion about the companies, what we liked about each one, went over the scorecards. Ryan Fors, our OPM, kept the price proposal separate, and we brought that out at the end, and it was unanimous that we thought Commodore Builders rose to the top in this situation. So we had Brian bring that to PMBC to say that this was our recommendation, that Commodore Builders would be the one that we work with to build the senior center. And PMBC voted unanimously to go ahead and start the contract process with Commodore. So
That's a
all
big deal.
Very exciting, yes. And Commodore, their price proposal was, I think Steve Moore said it was 12% less than the other construction company. He still thought it was, everyone who was in the construction and PMBC who reviewed the proposals thought it was still a very reasonable price. So things are moving along fast, and we'll get the contract going and hopefully bring Brian Fors and Commodore in to do a presentation for the select board and the COA board to give an update on where we are in the process.
Very good,
Yes,
very good.
very exciting. Very exciting.
It seems like when you look out at the tennis courts, nothing's happening, but inside there's a lot going on. So even though we think there's nothing going on or it's being stalled, it's not. Every week there's a meeting, and every week you're doing something, and so it is going.
Right. We've been meeting, there's a working group that meets weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what's going on with the architects, with Brian, the OPM, and usually Mark Rombacher and Gary Wilson pop into that meeting as well. And we review the plans, where we are. There's so many moving pieces with being able to tie into the sewer and timing that correctly. That's one thing I was really impressed with Commodore. They had a plan for that already. They had a plan for excavation and removal of dirt from the property because we are going into that hillside. They thought through those things in advance and came to the interview with ideas already on how they were going to handle some of the most challenging parts of this build. And for me, that was one of the reasons why they rose to the top. Commodore did build library. They know the site. They know kind of the town. In their proposal to us, they really did their research. They went on our website. They quoted things that we do, specifically what EHS does and programs we hold, and even mentioned Rebecca's yoga class in their proposal. Like, they really did their research on what we do and what it is we're looking for. So I was definitely impressed with that.
Very good.
Yep. So moving forward.
So the rules, reviewing the rules and regs, we're going to put that off to another date, but the reason that it was here today was so that we could talk about the dementia friend and make it part of what we are going to do. So that's why that's here. But the full review of the regs will come later on, probably in January after Christmas, and we can settle down with that. The TREAD committee. I'm on the TREAD committee with Nicole and the assessor and the treasurer, and we met last week on Wednesday morning at 8:30, and Nicole presented 18 cases, which was 4 more cases than we've had in the past of people who needed help. And as she read through them, you could see that there is a terrific need. It's very difficult when you sit there and you see every one of those people or families owned a home, and they were on such limited income and still trying to be able to make their taxes. And we were fortunate that we had $26,000, but we could only use 75% of that, which is the law. So we had $19,800 that we could use. And we were able to break it down into the real heavy needed, the medium, and then the people who needed help but didn't need it as much as that top group. And so we divided it into 3 groups, and we were able to help all 18. But that made our fund down to next to nothing, and I'm very passionate about this because there is such a need in town. And so anybody who has money or knows of an organization that has money that they're willing to give for TREAD to help. TREAD is tax relief for seniors and disabled people. And this year it was a lot worse. I've been on the board for 3 years, and it's the worst that I've seen it. And so all the money, we thank the people who have donated, because a lot of people did donate in, and we thank them for that. But it's hard, and Nicole does the best that she can, but can't do a lot if you don't have a lot. So we have another year that we can work at raising money. So the problem is COA can't raise money, and it's a COA program. So that puts us in a real jam. I know that Finance Committee is trying to work with a way that they could put it into the budget, but we've heard legally you can't use tax money for this purpose. So that means it's donations, and it's hard. But we did it. We helped 18 people, so that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Yep. So that's all I had for that. And board updates. Do we have any board updates?
TAC is finally going to meet.
Excuse me?
TAC hasn't, the Transportation Advisory has not
Has
met
not met?
since May.
Okay,
Finally going to meet the end of this month.
okay,
Haven't seen an agenda or anything, but
okay. And then everybody was given the Minuteman Senior Services Annual Report, and I think Sue is going to bring us up to date.
Okay. Yeah, in the handouts today, in addition to the minutes and the agenda, there was the Minuteman Senior Service Report for Littleton. And this is the numbers in Littleton that are serviced by Minuteman Senior Services under the various categories. The transportation one, that's in addition to our own MART van. So when Liz talks about the vans and the transportation that we do in town, it's not that only 12 people are being serviced. I'm sure Liz has got a much bigger number than that. But these other things are ones that, the different services that Minuteman provides. And these are the numbers specifically for Littleton. And Marge and I thought that should be shared. I have numbers for the entire Minuteman Senior Services. If anybody wants to see those, I can easily share that with you too. I can email it to you or share it now.
Under the shines, there's
Yes.
92. Is that, would that number be bigger with our new outreach person working with Shine? Do you think that number is higher?
I think it will be, because Alicia reports all of her numbers to Minuteman to be included in that. So
Okay.
now we can reach more.
And
people.
this number, this is for the fiscal year 2022, so it was last year's
Numbers.
open enrollment time when
Oh, okay.
Shine is the busiest, obviously, but, so those are last year's numbers when we had only the Shine counselor handling it. And now we have the Shine counselor plus Alicia, so.
Okay.
And if any
Any
if I could
questions?
just jump in. So if you're looking at this and wondering like how Minuteman relates to us, so under the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, COAs are kind of in one bucket. Aging Services Access Points, what Minuteman is in another bucket. They get state and federal funds to administer home care programs. So we really work in collaboration. So they provide case managers who set up homemakers, personal care attendants, med management inside someone's home. Also do transportation. They administer all the Meals on Wheels. They do a ton of programs, but it's in collaboration with us. So we're always kind of, if we can't meet a need, we call them. If they can't meet a need, they call us. So it's really a really strong partnership. And I was just on a phone call with them this morning in our directors group with Minuteman, and they let us know they're moving back to Burlington from Bedford.
Yes,
So
they're,
that's
they're,
new.
they're moving in May, I believe it is. The board of directors just signed the lease with the new building. So they're moving back there in May, and then there's also a proposal before the board of directors to change the meeting schedule. We met, the board of directors has been meeting every month, but we're planning, there's a plan. We're voting on it, the meeting in December, which is coming up. It's a plan to go to a meeting every other month, but then to have more committee meetings, which, so I don't think we're going to save any time for the individual person, obviously, but that's their plan. It hasn't been voted on, and it would not go into effect until next July, when the federal fiscal year starts. Because they work under several fiscal years.
Yes.
When we get the financial reports, we have to think which one we're talking about. But if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Liz gave it, or ask me later. It's fine.
Any other board member updates? From anybody? Okay, so now we're on to special events. And we have the annual town fair and the brunch. Now, for the annual town fair, we're going to have a table that is going to talk about the senior center. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then our program of Loving Stitches is also going to have a table. And their plan is to sell their items and donate the money to the senior center. So both tables need to be staffed for the whole day. So if you want, I can be responsible for setting up who's gonna work when, where, or someone else could take that on, because I did it last year. whatever your feeling is. And if any of you or all of you can help. One thing that Liz and I talked about this morning, and we haven't really pushed it anywhere else, is possibly putting the two tables together. And Loving Stitches has four tables? Three
Three.
tables?
3, I think.
3 big tables that they use for selling their stuff. And then we were at the doorway where you walked into the gym, and we had everything up on the wall last year. So I can talk to Nancy Morrison and see if we can put that all together, so we're all kind of in one place. I know Maureen Donnelly, she's working very hard at putting it together and finding people to bring tables and chairs and stuff. But it's manning the table all day. Not everybody can. It wouldn't be fair to say Maureen had to stay there all day, or anybody else, so we're looking for help.
Anita, I have a question. There's the Loving Stitches table, okay? There's ours. Are we going to be near the Friends tables at all? Or is that all going to be part in the same area, do you know, or,
We will not be in where the Friends are.
okay.
This is a COA EHS
Right,
table.
I knew that, but I didn't know if we were going to be nearby, like if we were going to be neighbors rather than, across town.
What, I go down and set the floor
Yep,
the night before with Nancy Morrison.
Yeah.
And my only request to Nancy is that we are together.
right.
EHS stays together this year because the Friends didn't want to do the Loving Stitches table this year. They didn't want,
Oh, okay.
they couldn't man it. They didn't want to do it. And so Marge said, well, why can't we take it on? And Liz checked, she had to check to find out if financially we could run the table and get the money because of the whole donation,
Yeah.
everything else. And she's got it, so it's safe that we can do that. We're legal. We're legal and everything else, so we're doing wrong.
I
So
was just
that's-
curious. It was a curiosity thing, nothing.
That's what the plan will be.
Okay.
And maybe we can have it right as we come in, and that would really give us a lot of exposure to everybody. But if we can't, we will still make sure that the pictures and everything are up on the wall. Because I found last year, a lot of people came up and asked me, can you explain what this is and what, and that's totally different now than what we had last year. So I'm sure people are gonna wanna ask questions about that. So any help we can get from the board, I would appreciate it. It's December 3rd. Setup is December 2nd.
Anita, I have to work that day, of course.
On
No.
December 3rd?
I always work the first Saturday, but I can be there Friday night to set up. I can help you the Friday before.
You might want to then get in touch with Maureen Donnelly and see what she has for setup Friday night.
Okay.
If she has enough people to, put all the clothes and everything out, I don't know. I don't know what she's got for a group right now, so,
So Maureen Donnelly?
yeah, if you contact her,
I can
Liz
ask her.
probably has her number.
Have
Yeah.
her contact you if she needs help.
Right, because we actually have tables too. We have an 8x10 table at home.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
library.
Well, I
has
think
tables.
her plan was that the tables were gonna come from here,
Okay, we have,
and she was hoping, last year, George Sanders brought everything down,
okay,
and then the Boy Scouts, there's several big tubs, and the Boy Scouts came and got the tubs and brought them down.
all right.
So, I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming that's what she's doing, but she still needs help
Right.
laying it all out. It's a big job. And then somebody there to sell the next day. So, let me know.
I can come down and I can work on it, but not before 11 o'clock.
I can work the opening.
Hmm?
Whenever it starts, I can be
9
there.
o'clock.
Yeah, I can be there, but not before
long as
11,
it
because
started.
I
9.
have Alta Guild work
Do
that
you-
day.
You'll need some information about the senior center, so you can answer questions.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be there all day, so we can pair up.
Okay.
But if you want to make a list of who's doing what,
Yeah.
I'll be there at 9.
What time?
9,
9?
that's when it starts?
I'm pretty sure it starts at 9.
Okay.
93.
Anita and I can,
Meet me at the door as you come in.
Anita, I'll come in, but it'll be about 11 because I have to finish the church work first. It's the first weekend of the month.
Okay.
And that can help out too, but I would want to meet so I can know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I haven't seen a picture in about 6 months.
Well, we weren't gonna put you on that. We're gonna have you selling sweaters and jackets and, since you've got that nice, you know, you put a hat on.
A new
and
Santa
a scarf, and you look like Santa Claus. You'd be good for selling.
I should have said, yeah, I should,
What time of day would you like to
whatever you want me
be
to fill
Santa
in.
Claus? Why don't we put you down for,
Do you have shifts? Are you having shifts?
I can have shifts.
9 to 11, 11
9 to 11.
1.
11 to 1,
I thought I could
1 to
work
3.
like 9 to noon,
9 till noon. Okay, and
or whatever fits.
whatever
Yeah,
fits.
11 to whenever you need.
11 to 3, 11 to 2,
Yeah, 11 to 2.
11 to
And if
2.
it's busy and I'll
then it'll
stay
be
longer.
over. I'll be there all day, so David will be there and you'll be there. Okay, so why don't you come at 11?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, Joe's at 11. And I'll fill in wherever.
And I can do early that morning, but not afternoon,
So you can do morning.
Yep.
We'll put you down for morning.
because I'm leaving Tuesday, or Sunday,
Sunday.
so I have to.
And I can come over at some point. I'm
'Cause
at
you're
the-
working
I'm
another-
working in another
Oh,
table.
that's
You're working
right.
another table.
You work all day.
Yeah. Yeah. And
During your lunch break, you
During
come
my
over.
lunch break, I'll
Yeah.
come over.
Yeah, you did lunch break last year. And I'll just be a floater. I'll work all day, wherever I'm needed. Okay, that works. And the brunch for Al Forno's?
What date is that?
Do you need help for the brunch at El
No,
Forno's?
we don't.
No, I didn't think so.
No, what's the date of that, Liz?
It is
The 14th is
14th?
14th, right?
14th at
At
10?
10? 10, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
What
it's a
day is
brunch,
that?
right.
It's a Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seemed to me I saw it on,
Yeah.
I wrote it on the calendar
Yes,
from last time.
Wednesday, the 14th, because we had to move the women's breakfast to the 7th, so we didn't do breakfast. on the
Yeah, and you screwed me up because I have craft class that day.
7th. I'm sorry.
I mean, seriously,
They're
really?
They're just gonna be full.
Yes. We will be working that day. Okay, so all of you that can make the brunch?
It's
Sign
it's
it.
here. It's in-
No, it's
not-
at Al
Al
Forno's.
Forno? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
11 o'clock on a Wednesday,
10 o'clock.
10
10
o'clock.
o'clock.
10
o'clock.
I'm working.
they won't give you an hour off to go have breakfast?
I'll ask.
Might be able to make you a to-go plane drop
Maybe.
off.
Maybe. I took 2 days off last week. I'm taking a day off next week. And I took 2 days off the week before, working on my house. So I'm running out of days. Maybe they'll give me an hour. Maybe.
And did we have any public input? Is there anyone out there from the public today?
There are no attendees.
Okay,
I forgot one thing. This is
Okay.
public input, sort of. The thank you from Aaron Morse, the Park and Rec Commissioner. He sent an email to myself to thank Elder and Human Services for participating in the trunk or treat event for Halloween. I just forwarded it to you and Marge, but Aaron mentioned that they gave out over 50,000 pieces of candy, and
I can believe that.
yeah, it was
That was a night to remember,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Did it say
Joe
how
was
many,
there.
how many attended? Did they have any idea?
Felt like thousands, right?
Had to be.
It felt like at one point, like I was getting kind of nervous.
It was crazy.
I didn't go this year
Easy.
because when I drove by, there was no parking, and I said, I'm not gonna go just because I'm nosy and find a parking space when a parent could use it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I went I was there, I couldn't leave because of my car, so I started walking home, okay? Well, Russell Street was stopped. It was wall-to-wall cars backed up, and that went on for 30 minutes after I got back to my house. So there was a lot of people up there. It was worse, I kept saying to David, it's worse than any football game we've ever gone to. I mean, there were so many cars, it was crazy.
The weather was
And there was a middle
fantastic.
school dance that night, too.
Well, that messed it up too much.
That's why there were so many
Wow.
cars, because the parents were trying to drop off.
the
and-
kids
I don't know how they were able to do that with all the cars up
I
there.
just felt, I'll
Yeah,
leave a
because the middle
spot,
school
because
dance and-
I was there last year. Yeah.
But it was so big, I mean,
It's-
it was really
That's
something.
good.
They do
the
a
kids.
good job with their stuff.
They do.
Yeah,
They really do.
they did a great job. Okay, if we don't have anything else to talk about, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn at 4:09.
No, is that right?
Oh, I was using this one,
Yeah, it's right.
at 4:09.
4:09.
Second?
All those in favor? David?
Aye.
Sue?
Yes.
Ann Lee?
Yeah.
Joe?
Aye.
Jean?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Lorelei?
Yeah.
And Anita? Okay.
Did you vote? I didn't hear.
I said an Anita. Right?